Off the Ball
with Gillette. Put your best face forward with our new and improved razors.
This is News Talk.
All right, you're welcome along. It's Thursday's Off the Ball. Nathan with you until 10 o'clock. Lots of Euro 2020 coverage coming your way. At 7:30, we're going to talk with Chris Waddle, the former England winger. He's going to give us his thoughts on Gareth Southgate's side's progression and, of course, look ahead to that last 16 clash with Germany. He might have a little bit of history. We may have to talk about it at some stage. That's coming your way at 7:30. That means we're going to have all the more John Giles on the football show from 9 o'clock through to 10 o'clock. He will be giving the definitive account of the group stage. A little bit of chat about Billy Gilmour as well, who you may remember right back when Billy Gilmour started out. John was tipping for the very top, and I think his performance last week has already proven him correct. So that is our football coverage. We're also going to be looking ahead to the start of the Munster Hurling Championship. Waterford against Kelleher this Sunday. Some big games in Leinster as well. James O'Connor will be with us after 8 o'clock. And starting this Saturday, every single minute of every single Lions game is going to be live right here on Off the Ball, starting with that game against Japan. Neil Tracy and Andy Dunn with live commentary from 3 o'clock on Saturday. We're going to be talking with Fiona Hayes about what we can expect in a Lions side that now includes all 7 Irish players in the starting 15, with Tyke Furlong added in today. So lots to get through. 53106 is the text number. At Off the Ball on Twitter if you want to get in touch. Richie McCormack is with us. Good evening, Richie.
Nathan, we're going to be busy the next while. Not only have we got all that you just mentioned there, like Championship, and we've got the Euros obviously continuing, and the Lions getting underway this coming Saturday as well. We've got the Tour de France starting on Saturday. Wimbledon is starting on Monday. And I don't think we're going to be shy of anything to talk about for the next few weeks. It's going to be a bit hectic.
And Golf Weekly every week with all the golf, Richie. Joe Malloy looks different, I got to say.
Why is he? Has he finally got that trip to Turkey?
Well, I think you can hear him, and he'll sound very different. What's going on, Joe?
Just a fresh face complexion, Nathan.
Oh, it's a beautiful
How
thing.
you doing?
Ronan Mullen, live from Dundalk. What a treat. How are they all in Dundalk these days?
I would say reeling, Nathan, after the Chris Shields letter. One of the better departing letters in OTB Sports, I would say. But what a Trojan he's been. Like, I think we've spoken on Newsround before, but he was there before those heady days under Stephen Kenny, and was captain at a very young age when things were kind of going off the rails a little bit. The club kind of rose from the ashes, and he was very much to the forefront of all of that. Like, remember an unbelievable pass he played against Hajduk Split in an away game in Europe, and obviously was there a central figure when they ultimately did make the group stages. So yeah, things are reeling a bit there. Mickey Hart has obviously transformed Louth into a powerhouse of Leinster football once again, Nathan. So we're looking forward to seeing how that goes this weekend.
So you're a football county now rather than a football town, as you previously were. I didn't know. I've only been to Dundalk a few times. I remember going as like a 7-year-old up to see Steve McManaman play for Liverpool when they came over to play Dundalk, and up to Oriel Park a number of times. But then we were there last year at a road show, and in all those times I never knew what Dundalk was famous for, and the way that Chris Shields spoke about it, and the takeaways and the coffee shops. Is this something that is known throughout Ireland, or is this something you're keeping secret to yourselves?
And Harp, don't forget Harp. It's kind of synonymous with the.
I've never had a pint of Harp. What is Harp?
On.
Is Harp? I think it's like I feel like it's a mix of Guinness and a mix of maybe Guinness and Smithwick's or something like that.
Closer to Smithwick's. It's just a good lager, Nathan. You know, it's kind of what I go for. Even in Dublin, some of the more prestigious houses in Dublin would have it, so that's what I would tend to go for when I'm there.
You sounded a bit like GMAC there for a second.
You and Bertie are going to be able to drink Harp in Dublin.
Yeah, right. And the takeaways and the smell of curry sauce?
Oh, 100%. Well, the Roma, I thought the Roma was sort of nationally famous. The text machine might prove otherwise, but I thought everyone went to the Roma when they came to Dundalk. Well, I think it's kind of typical enough that I know the DKIT lads that I went to school with, the Dundalk nightlife would be quite common for people in Dublin and neighbouring areas to come down. So, I think it's a good spot.
Is it the sort of place Anthony Bourdain would turn up in the Roma in Dundalk, sitting there with some local hipster going, yeah, this is real food?
Yeah, well, not to disparage Roma 2 in Dublin, but the fact that there's 2 after its name, the implication is clear, Nathan, that they came late to the party, and the Roma in Dundalk is still very much full running in that regard. But I would recommend it anyone who comes. It's obviously been a tough year for that industry at large, and we need to support them, Nathan. And no more so than the Roma.
I think that industry's been absolutely booming. Has it not?
Absolutely.
Takeaways have been absolutely flying.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about the sit-in, the ambience, Nathan. You have to see it. You have to be at one with the community in Dundalk, and you can't get that at the little counter.
Nathan, come on now. You've been in Roma too, probably as often as I have at 3 o'clock in the morning after a session in Whelan's, getting a chicken curry chip into you. It's better eating it in there than it is out in the street or back home. There's a little extra something.
Is Roma 2 the place where Anthony Bourdain actually went to?
Yeah.
But it's gone now, is it?
It's not, is it? Don't say that.
No, I'm fairly sure it's gone. I cycled past it after we were talking about it last time and they were taking everything out. So it's a goner. It is a goner. And I've also heard rumours that Ricksburger, which was actually my preferred destination after a night in Whelan's, it was a bit of a walk, so you got your exercise in as well. Right down to the end of Dame Street. As far as I know, I think that's going as well. Like
Rick's is gone. Yeah,
it's gone.
I think.
The greatest burgers known to mankind.
Kenny Cunningham is your point man in that, Nathan. He would have sort of a ledger just denoting what the best ones remaining are in Dublin, because that tends to be his go-to move when he comes back.
Well, Kenny is available, but on other radio shows right now. So let's. You don't get that good stuff out of him there. We'll check in with Kenny again after the Euros, and he can give us his ultimate Dublin takeaway. 53106 is the text number. We went off on a slight tangent there. It is the news round with Gillette. Put your best face forward with their new and improved razors. Where are you starting, Richie?
UEFA, they've scrapped the away goals rule, Nathan. First introduced in 1965, the law saw goals scored away from home in two-legged knockout ties count for double in the event of a draw. Starting with next season's European club competitions, the away goals rule is no more. It means the Irish sides in qualifier action next month won't have to contend with the rule.
Does anybody think this is a good idea?
UEFA?
So I was wondering why UEFA were keen for this to happen. And I know you can make a case that there is an unfairness in the away goals rule, but that is more than balanced out by the excitement that it brings at the end of a game, because it is the only time in football where a goal can go from you losing a match to winning a match, that there's no in between, that actually it can just transform absolutely everything. But it does mean with no away goals rule that we can go back to the Champions League style format that we saw last season, where every game can just take place at a neutral venue, because there is no home and away anymore, and hey, we can make a whole lot more money out of that. Or am I just being very cynical, Richie?
Yeah, I would have gone the cynical route as well, because and that's unlike me, but this is in effect guarantees you more extra times across the competition from the knockout phase onwards, and with them looking to obviously alter the competition going forwards, then we're going to see more instances whereby the away goals rule or extra time will be needed, and therefore there's more ad space to be sold, both literally in and around stadiums and then literally in and around television programs, etc., etc. So it's essentially creating more space for ad revenue for UEFA, amongst other things. But that element of drama, that element of the unknown, that element of within a couple of seconds everything going horrifically wrong from a point of cruising, that's all gone. And you'll have a lot of cases and have a lot of ties now where I think the urgency will go from the 90 minutes in terms of trying to play it out and get a result within the 90 minutes of the second leg, and you'll have a lot of teams playing for extra time and possibly penalties in knockout ties. I think it could work, oddly enough, in the advantage of Irish sides that I mentioned there in qualifier action next week, because it levels the playing field a hell of a lot for them. They might be coming up against stronger seeded teams in the next rounds of the qualifiers. But overall, when we're talking about the upper echelon of European football, we're talking about the last 16, at the quarterfinals of the Champions League, Europa League, and the Conference League from next year. It's just going to disimprove things. You feel like it's taken away something that was pretty special and pretty unique to European football. And the question is, for what?
But even almost every great European football moment away from finals, Ronan, has come because of the away goal. It just adds to almost to the temperament of the game as well. There's an anger when you concede an away goal. There's a level of controversy because you were on the verge of progressing and then you're gone. You think of Tottenham against Ajax. Lucas Moura, if that's to bring it to extra time, yes, it's great, but it's not one of the all-time great moments because of what it means to Tottenham, or Iniesta's goal against Chelsea. These are transformative moments that now is just going to be on we roll to extra time. Maybe we get more penalties out of it. Does that make up for it?
I was thinking about that, what the greatest away goal is, but it couldn't land on one in particular. But I was thinking about the Manchester United-Barcelona semi-final of 2008, the year they won it, the year Manchester United won it, and Scholes obviously scored that goal. It was 0-0 in the first leg, and Clive Tilsley said something like, United have a 1-goal lead, but really it's just a half a goal lead, because, as you said, one goal changes everything. And you just remembered how cagey that match was. I think it was one of those games that was replayed on Virgin Media last year when there was no football on, and like United were kind of hanging on for the last 30 minutes with that lead, and it's just, as you said, that element of jeopardy is out of it. One thing, and an amendment that probably should have been made in latter years, was the inherent unfairness that if it goes to extra time in the second leg, that the away team has an extra 30 minutes to score a few more away goals, and I think that probably should have been done away with. I think the League Cup in England has a sort of a thing where away goals only count in certain circumstances or certain stages of the competition, so I think that was probably something that could have been addressed, but they've gone the whole hog here. And I have got the sense in recent years that because facilities and stuff are so standardised and teams are used to playing each other, and for the most part it's the same teams playing each other at the business end of these tournaments, that the whole away advantage or home advantage has kind of dissipated a bit. I do find that teams kind of set up as they would. Man City play the same way, for example, no matter where they are. And I think that's true of most sides, to be honest. Manchester United are going to set up at Old Trafford much the same as they would at the San Siro, for example, in the Europa League. So I think as years have gone by and the climate has changed a little bit, it was very different decades past, where, you know, those hostile away grounds where you'd be kind of setting up just to kind of eke out a draw or something like that. I think that's definitely changed in recent years.
It does mean, though, Richie, that those great commentary moments, that George Hamilton going, that goal doesn't really change anything, that's lost now forever. And then what was always brilliant was, as George said that, the utter confusion of the co-commentator as to what that actually meant. As that 3-minute spell where there would definitely be a point where the co-commentator would get it wrong as to what was actually happening. It's lost forever.
I'm going to miss George at interstitial moments in the lockout phase of the Champions League saying, of course, what this means now is, and explaining then what the away goals rule is for the billionth time in our life. But it's only when it's gone that you realise that you will miss something like that. And it will be missed. I think we're going to get a lot more dour affairs next year in Europe and beyond because of this. And you're kind of wondering then, do the previous 56 years of this rule have an asterisk beside all those games that had away goals deciding the ties, because now it's no more. It's one of those things they didn't really need to get rid of. I think they've probably done it to gain a new, younger element of football fan, and there's been a lot of changes in football have been made with that regard in mind over the last while. But I don't know. I don't want to say on old fashioned, but they definitely should have kept it.
First text in. Richie Mack needs a shave, says Dewars 80 and Tala. Well, I noticed this the other night. It was quite a quick transformation. What's the long-term goal?
I don't know.
If you put on a bit of weight, you'd be like, come on, Richie, I shouldn't even need to say this. The tag team champions of the world, who weren't the Bushwhackers.
Who weren't the Bushwhackers?
Earthquake. You'd be just like Earthquake. You need to put on a few pound, but that could be where you're heading.
I need to grow out the back as well. Plans change. I got my notification today that apparently I have to go for a headshot for the first time in my lengthy radio career, which speaks volumes of my failure thus far. I might have to go and get the old shrubbery.
Just be yourself. Be yourself. That's who you are, Richie. Be yourself. Why change for the headshots?
Because it's going to be like a massive face in a small headshot for the next couple of years. So, I don't know.
Great memories of the first and second lockdown there, folks. The sports news round featuring your favourite burger spot. Love it, says Dave in Bray. It's true, Dave, but we went back to it again because they've all now shut down since the first and second lockdown. So as we get back to normal, where is that 3 a.m? You just roll into it, you get your burger, you might get the old curry cheese chips. Whew.
Oh.
Garlic cheese chips.
Yes,
3 of them left over the next morning, and the mayonnaise just starting to
stop.
Yeah, that is what I'm looking for in a night out. These are the things that old age takes away from you. You just don't get that quite as much. That's among the highlights of your early 20s, those sort of nights, and that's what they're missing out on right now.
Local takeaways don't necessarily just have that. You need to have it at the end of a sesh to really make it hammer home the quality of the food that you're eating.
Where are you going to next?
Nathan Collins has become the most expensive uncapped Republic of Ireland player of all time. The under-21 internationals moved from Stoke City to Burnley for a fee believed to be €14 million. Collins has signed a 4-year deal at Turf Moor with the option of a fifth. Meanwhile, fellow under-21 international Jimmy Dunn is going to leave Burnley next week when his deal expires. Preston are among the clubs who apparently are interested in his signature. Kelleher, meanwhile, has signed a new long-term deal with Liverpool. The Republic of Ireland international made his first team breakthrough last season, playing 2 games apiece in the Champions League and Premier League. And Cork native is believed to have signed a 5-year contract at Anfield, and he'd hope he can stay even longer.
Oh yeah, I'd love to be here for the rest of my career. Definitely, I think it's since I've come here since I was 16, I've loved every minute of it. Such kind of a close knit, tight kind of family club. I love the city. I love everything about it. I just enjoy my football so much here. So yeah, like you say, long may it continue. You know, it's such a big club, and I'm obviously such an honour to be part of the club. So when I got the chance to sign for a few more years, I was obviously delighted, and just want to keep my progress going at the club, really.
Yeah, incredible for Caoimhín Kelleher. A 5-year contract. It'll be interesting to see how many of those seasons he spends at Liverpool. Does he decide at some stage actually he wants to go get first team football? It's a big decision for a lot of young players these days, Ronan. We've seen the benefit for Phil Foden of staying at Manchester City and being around that world-class talent. We're chatting with John Giles about Billy Gilmour, and surprised that maybe Gilmour might be going out to a Norwich, where again you would feel maybe the best thing for Billy Gilmour is just being around Jorginho and Kante and Havertz in training every day, rather than playing first team football at a team that's probably going to struggle.
Yeah, it might be slightly different for a goalkeeper though, is it? I think there's a sense that repetition is important, and I know he will develop good habits in training alongside the likes of Alisson, who's one of the top goalkeepers in the world. But at a certain point, these are formative years, and Sam Johnson's probably one you could point to where he kind of spent time lower down the depth chart at Manchester United behind a couple of goalkeepers, never made a first team appearance, I don't think, but as he approaches his 30s has become an established goalkeeper in the Premier League, and I think will be back in the Premier League one way or another next year. So I think that Caoimhín Kelleher will probably have his sights set a little bit higher. But in the short term, I think it's probably no harm hanging around Liverpool. He did get a good bit of game time. I know it's unfortunate circumstances from Alisson's point of view and a few injuries as well, but I think he probably will get a run in the cups and that kind of thing. And to be around that sort of environment, especially with fans back, I think it's important that he kind of gets himself acclimated with the Anfield crowd almost, and that'll be an important thing going forward. Nathan Collins is a good one as well. It's good to see him in hopefully being a regular starter for Burnley in the Premier League, and I think everybody has high hopes for him. He was captain in Stoke as a teenager, so I think if you peg it down 5 years down the road, you kind of hope both Kelleher and Collins will be cornerstones of the Ireland team.
Yeah, Nathan Collins is going to be interesting to watch next season, Richie, because we've seen Kevin Long and Jimmy Dunn sit on the bench season after season, and Sean Dyche doesn't just change his team. When you're in, and if you're not in, it's very difficult to make an impression. So Ben Mee and James Tarkowski being the first choice for the last 4 or 5 years. The feeling I was reading today is that Tarkowski may stay for another season in the hope of leaving on a free transfer. So if Ben Mee doesn't leave, you would have a little bit of a concern that, and maybe it's not an issue at this age, that Nathan Collins won't actually get much first team football next season.
Yeah, I think this year is going to be a betting in process for him, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because the Championship to the Premier League, even with a £12 million, €40 million transfer behind you, it's a bit of a jump, especially when you've been at Stoke. So it's no harm to have, we even saw, look at Andy Robertson at Liverpool. I'm not comparing apples and oranges necessarily, but you look at the time that Jurgen Klopp took to bet him in at Liverpool. He wasn't necessarily starting every game during the first part of his first season at Anfield. We could see a similar situation with Collins at Burnley, whereby they ease him into the situation there. You've got Tarkowski or Mee heading out the exit door next summer, and he suddenly finds himself as a stalwart of the Burnley defence and pretty able to slot in whenever needs be, because he's had that year to acclimatise. And it's a good move for him. It's not too different a style of play between what he's been doing at Stoke and what he'll be doing at Burnley over the next 5 years. That contract speaks volumes of the faith they have and the progress that he's going to make over the next couple of years too. So yeah, you just hope that stuff like the transfer fee doesn't weigh heavily on it, because 14 million quid in terms of an Irish international, as we know, is a lot of money. In terms of a Burnley player as well, is a lot of money. So hopefully he's able to live up to it at all ends.
And best of luck to Jimmy Dunn as well. Hope it works out for him. If you're looking for something to listen to this evening, we had Jimmy Dunn on the show about a year ago, and I'd say it's definitely in my top 2 footballer interviews. Really down to earth, really interesting story. Was at Manchester United with Marcus Rashford, and the type of guy, when you listen to him, you will want him to go on and be successful in his career. So hopefully it works out well for him.
Also in your top 2 Dundalk contributors, Nathan, over the last 5 months?
Absolutely. Don't know who the other... I suppose Dan we'd have to go for. Richie, would it be?
Dan's RD.
Yeah,
Dan's RD, is he? That time JP came on. Maybe that time JP came on. We might have to go with that one. We're very tight in time. Richie, run us through a couple of stories.
Yeah, Kelleher wasn't the only Ireland international putting pen to paper on Merseyside today. Megan Campbell has joined the growing Irish ranks at Liverpool FC Women. The Championship club only signed Leanne Kiernan this week and was already home to Niamh Fahey. While Netherlands captain Jorginho Wijnaldum has called on UEFA to take a tough stance on racism at Euro 2020. An investigation into Hungarian fans' behaviour during their first 2 group games in Budapest is ongoing. A homophobic banner was displayed by Hungary's far-right Carpathian Brigade during the Portugal match, while Kylian Mbappe was allegedly racially abused when France visited there last weekend. The Netherlands played the Czech Republic in the Hungarian capital on Sunday, and Wijnaldum says he'll lead his players off the pitch if such behaviour repeats, but says it's up to the officials to deal with it first. The full complement of Ireland players in the Lions squad will start Saturday's warm-up game with Japan. Ty Furlong has been promoted from the bench to the front row after Xander Ferguson complained of back spasms, while Niall Carney is just a shot off the lead after the opening day of golf's BMW International Open. Play was suspended, with the Dubliner still having 2 holes to play of its first round. Carney is 6 under par on a shot adrift of the clubhouse leader Wade Ormsby. Jonathan Caldwell carded a 2 under round of 70. Padraig Harrington finished the day on level par, while Paul Dunn is in the clubhouse on 1 over.
And would you believe it? Golf Weekly is up online right now. Get on to otbsports.com/Golf Weekly. Sign up for that. It's a major week, so we already had a review pod on Monday. We had our watch along on Sunday, and another pod this afternoon. Richie just cannot wait to get into it. Richie, we're done for time. Keep the beard. Be yourself. Keep the beard for the headshots. Don't mind them. And Ronan, definitely just behind Jimmy Dunn as our favourite Dundalk contributor.
I'll take that. I'll take it all day long.
We cannot
what
wait.
about
to
Stephen
get
O'Donnell?
Roma. Stephen O'Donnell's from Galway.
Yeah, come on.
Come on, Richie. Come on. On that note, Richie, for once getting something wrong, let's celebrate this moment. Not John Giles. John Giles coming away at 9 o'clock tonight for the full hour on the Football Show. Up next, we are going to hear from Chris Waddle.
The Newsround on Off the Ball.
With Gillette. Put your best face forward with our new and improved razors.
You know how every part of your business works. Square is how it all works together. Square has tools to help you manage everything. Point of sale, online, payments, and so